Hello and welcome back to Seconds Out. My name is Eamon Khan here with esteemed journalist Wally Downes Jr. from The Sun. Wally, good to speak, Jay. How
What
you
does it?
doing?
What does esteemed mean? Genuinely, what does that mean?
Held in high regard, right?
Jesus Christ. Yes.
Yes, indeed. Wally, well, I've dragged you on for a quick Zoom interview regarding the latest developments in the Conor Benn ongoing saga. A statement and, well, two statements have since been put out today off the back of the first one from Conor Benn, stating that he was cleared to fight and cleared of any wrongdoing as well. And in response, UKAD, I think a good 30 to 45 minutes after, have since stated they're going to reflect and review their next steps after the NADP's decision. Just your first of all thoughts on the current developments.
Uh, yeah, just unclear for now. Um, do you know what's frustrating again, mate? And I know I've sent out a broken record. Tomorrow there is a press conference for a brilliant show for a lot of British talent, 7 good fights, and all that people are going to talk about tomorrow is this. And it is such a shame. And it's the nature of the beast. It's my job to ask questions. It's your job to ask questions. But once again, I don't understand why this can't be handled behind closed doors. Because this thing of playing it out in the public every time, it hasn't worked for 2.5 years. It isn't going to start working now. So that's annoying that tomorrow, great fellas like Brad Pauls, Denzel Bentley, and all the other lads on there, people are going to ask them at the beginning, oh, this is a good fight, this is a good show. And but the last question is going to be, and what do you think about Conor Benn's situation? And when you publish your, and it's not criticism of you guys, because I understand the business as well. But all those interviews and all those guys talking about their fights and their camps and their dreams or aspirations, the headline's going to be, Denzel Bentley believes this about Conor Benn or Brad Paul. So that's the only. This is shame and it's annoying, mate. I got to be honest. We know that there's been a decision impending for a long time. Again, Matchroom always tell us that there's big news coming. Um, when it came out, I wasn't too surprised at the timing. I saw Connor said some nice stuff about UKAD and the board, and I thought maybe they finally come to agreement, done a deal. Connor's shown them some evidence finally, and they have said, "Well, look, you haven't had a decent fight for 5 years. Let's go. Let's start again. Wipe our mouths." Because Turkey obviously wants Tim to fight Chris Eubank. I mean, they were in a British Boxing Board of Control ring a little while ago in October. So as far as I was concerned, it was just going to get swept under the carpet and we was going to move on. A deal was going to be done. And to be fair, as much as I don't like that, he would have served a 2-year ban. His reputation is where it is. I've spoken to Conor a few times privately and just said, look, people who believe Conor Benn to be guilty now probably force it in the first big week, and they'll never change their minds. The people that have trusted in him and believed in him and have believed his statements, they will still be there. So I don't think how this finally finishes will have any impact on that. I'm not surprised that the NAPD cleared him again, because they cleared him the first time, or cleared him to fight. And I'm not surprised that the board are unhappy, because unless I'm missing something, and I'm not the brightest, but I don't know of anything that has changed. I remember he had that Rene guy come on the team for a little while and another doctor. They didn't do anything. He's had the same gang of lawyers, the same gang of scientists, the same. The 270-page document is apparently now only about 4 pages long, but I haven't heard anything that has changed. So the NAPD saying, yeah, go away, fine, whatever, we don't care, you're free to fight, doesn't surprise me. The board saying we are going to consider our approach because we have the right to appeal. When I saw the board's statement, so when I went to the board, pestered UKAD, pestered them all for just, we have to go and get a statement. It's all become clear that they didn't have a statement ready to run, ready to go. And then I thought, well, if they'd done a deal and come together, sat around a table, UKAD would have a statement ready to go at the same time as Conor's. I understand it comes as a surprise to some people at Matchroom, the way it came out, and then UKAD finally got a statement out. And in my heart of hearts, I would assume now, bearing in mind that they've been in this ring together now, and it's been over 2 years, I would imagine the board might just say, do you know what, we're not going to bother appealing. You've had 2 years out the ring. You haven't earned any money. You haven't had any fights. We're not happy with it finishing like this, but let's just get on with it. And I don't think in previous cases it has seemed like the board have been bent over and have been forced into a deal. They've stood their ground here on lots of instances. They've pushed back members of the media at Eddie. They've proved themselves to be a proper body or a limited company that can uphold their own rules. In my heart of hearts, I think they might just say, look, yeah, forget it now. We won't appeal. Get on with it. I think interesting that below the statement there was a small instruction that I found interesting that said, I think my wording is not verbatim. UKAD would like to share the evidence with the NAPD, but without his permission, we are not allowed to do so. I find that very telling. Why would you not? Again, I've been speaking to everyone I've spoken to since October 2022. If you have all of this excellent, unequivocal books of evidence, show it to people. And then even the people that have doubted you all along will have to shut up. But even if you get an independent body like the NAPD to clear you, if they're not allowed to share your evidence and how you got off of this, then no one's ever going to believe you anyway. Really? So that's where I think I am, mate. I think the board have stood up to this again. But I wouldn't be surprised if, having gone over 2 years, Conor hasn't had a fight, they're getting in the ring together. I feel like it's just going to reach a natural end where the board might just go, oh, do you know what? Bored of it, get on with it. But I could well be wrong.
I only have a couple of questions to follow up on that because you answered a lot in that first answer. First of all, I wonder if you shared my frustration with the British Boxing Board of Control when I'd reached out to Robert to just get the British Boxing Board of Control side of things as to conversations surrounding Conor Benn and then the updates, either on record or off record. These were stifled, and then a conversation was had at Talk Sport, which I understand and get, but anything after that, again, more kind of shut down. And there's still that silence, I guess, from the board as well too. Have the board been too absent in this manner in recent months, especially in the light of Benn and Eubank Jr. facing off over in Saudi?
It's a bit of a double-edged sword. I mean, I'm a terrible journalist if I say that I think things should have been just kept quiet and handled behind closed doors. But the board had their fingers burnt when Simon Jordan went on the radio and revealed that Robert Smith was feeding him information, and it was incorrect information about, they accused Matchroom of knowing that Dillian White popped earlier than was true. So Robert Smith learned his lesson. I mean, he was going on Talk Sport once a week, giving exclusive interviews and often not answering the phone to us. So that was incredibly frustrating. And I think that's all, certainly in the public eye, it's all stopped now. And that is better. I've constantly moaned about it all playing out in the public. And again, what's happened today? Conor puts a statement out. There are vagaries in it. And then I see some people sort of get caught up and accidentally say Conor Benn is cleared. Well, no, Conor Benn said he was cleared, but the board still have a right to an appeal. So going public and shouting things out in public, it doesn't work. It is in a case like this, it's detrimental. It hasn't been successful, so why not try and be quiet and handle it behind closed doors? I thought UKAD handled this well. I think it took everyone by surprise that Conor put a statement out straight away. but the board got their statement out relatively quickly. So, sorry, UKAD got their statement out relatively quickly, and it addressed exactly what we needed it to address. Because my bosses are on my case. What does this mean? Is he cleared? Is he not cleared? And the questions that I put to UKAD were completely answered in that brief but concise statement, which is what we need. And again, listen, what can they do? Look, all this still comes down to the suggestion to me is still that the argument that keeps getting the NAPD to clear Conor to fight is jurisdiction. That he was not licensed by the board, or he didn't have a license when he failed one, maybe two, but certainly one of the tests. Maybe two. I don't know. And yeah, if it's a medical situation, and he's not willing to share the evidence, then we'll never know, and it's always going to be murky. That was one of the sort of half interesting things about the idea of it going to CAS.
Yeah.
If the board can keep appealing, take it to CAS, the highest arbitration for sport court, but that comes with the caveat of all your evidence becomes public knowledge. I think boxing fans, we're constantly hoodwinked and lied to. If we don't know what the evidence was that gets him cleared eventually, then there is going to be a massive cloud that remains over his career. In a court of law, if someone seems incredibly guilty of something, but they get off, at least we all know how. Usually, they've either got a great lawyer, or they've proved their innocence.
Final small note. It's come to my knowledge that this is a bit of an industry chat, I guess. A lot of people in the industry have a little listen in. We'd like to say goodbye to all of those.
Listens into this?
Yeah.
There's a video in it.
Yeah, it's going to go on the YouTube channel.
Who watches your YouTube channels?
Just for you.
No, the radio show, we see a few people sneak in, didn't you? No, again, mate. There's so much cheerleading, so much fake reporting. I'm not a big time, I'm no good. But I don't know. It's when some of this stuff happens, and then other people say or write other things, I will get a phone call at 9 or 10 o'clock at night. Joe Blogg says this is the truth. He's fighting, Conor Benn is fighting Manny Pacquiao next week. And then I have to get up, and it's not true, and it's not happening. And when you think about the list, again, I hope Conor Benn shows his evidence and gets cleared, and he can say, you are all wrong, I was innocent all along. And we'll all, anyone that's suggested otherwise, we'll have to say sorry and look guilty. But instead, all I read about, every day of the week, go through the list of people that he's fighting. Kell Brook, Amir Khan, Manny Pacquiao, Terence Crawford, Errol Spence, Josh Taylor, Gervonta Davis. Anyone else in there?
Haney.
Dennis. Haney, Nathan, yeah. Devin Haney, Nathan Heaney, probably. Sitting him in there, it's just muddied the sport. It's been a horrible 2 years. It's been a horrible, horrible 2 years for the sport. I was there that Thursday afternoon when it all collapsed. And it's just hung over, and it's been grim. And I know that that Team Ben and Matchroom and DAZN feel it's so unfair because other fighters have been popped and had lesser bans or got away with it. But just like today, once again, the way that it's done, that's been the problem. That's been the problem, man. It's been miserable for all these years. So if the board do say, look, we're bored of it, man, you're not going to prove your evidence. You're going to keep doing this. I almost wouldn't care now, mate, if they just got on with it. And that's not in any way to say, I saw some horrible discussions on Ariel Hawani's show, where Adi Oladipo was going, let's just move on. Let's just forget it, shall we? That's so wrong, man. So I don't forget that Fury was popped. I don't forget that Canelo was popped. Don't just brush it under the carpet. If you've got all the evidence to say you're innocent, show your evidence and we will all go, we are so sorry, man. You've done us. We were wrong. But don't keep telling me, just move on. because then everyone should dope. If we've all got to just give up and move on, what's the point? Some of it, again, I think that's what sort of annoyed me more, and I think it's made people really dislike Conor. I don't think he's done too much. It's the way it's been handled.